You don't need to do more, just do differently. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how this one sustainable content strategy can literally serve you back your time on a silver platter. The reason is because it only takes 10 hours a month to do. That's 2.5 hours every week or 30 minutes a day every weekday. Yeah, I basically feel like I've cracked the code. It's taken me 5 years to perfect this and crunch everything into this time frame, but don't worry, I have not left out the quality of content creation. I understand quality is the most important when it comes to creating content, so please don't think that this strategy is going to diminish the quality of your content or anything along those lines. So let's just dive right into what this strategy is. Number one, this strategy is completely based on an offer. So if you don't have an offer for your business, please consider having an offer, especially if you're a business owner, a solopreneur who is creating content online. If you don't have an offer as a business, then you're basically a content creator and you are going to get trapped in the monetization, ads, affiliate marketing kind of side of this digital landscape versus making really amazing impact through an offer that is completely your own, completely authentic to you. So that is number one to understand about this strategy. And here's kind of a statement that puts this all together. We can't build a content strategy that provides real ROI for your business if we aren't intentionally leading people, your audience, to an aligned offer that is aligned with your goals. So just to wrap it all up, you basically need to create an offer that is aligned with a very specific goal that you want to achieve in your business, whether it's income, whether it's email list opt-ins, email list growth, or community growth online. Those are just some of the top examples I see. Your offer is then basically the version of this goal in a productized form, and your content has to lead people to that. Every piece of content does, because you aren't going to get the return on investment you're looking for when you create content and you don't lead somebody to an offer. And again, a lot of people hear offers and they think it means money. It doesn't necessarily mean money, but that is the number one offer that most people want, and for good reason. So to build a lasting and sustainable content strategy for any business, we have to understand these two critical aspects of what makes successful business content. Number one is the complete awareness and presence of the problems your business holds the solution for within it. And number two, the ability to lead your audience authentically and empathetically from being problem aware to considering your solution to then buying your solution. So these two critical aspects are the foundation of your content strategy. And there is a way to do this right, but it really just comes down to certain principles being integrated into your content. Number two, you might also notice, is basically the buyer's journey. If you've heard of that, then you're already ahead of the game, and this will be a little bit easier for you to understand. A lot of the times we have content strategies that are based on educational, inspirational, and entertaining and things like that, when really those are surface level genres that are actually speaking to a deeper buyer's journey. And this content strategy is actually based in buyer psychology. It's not just something made up. It's really about getting somebody comfortable enough to trust you and to see your offer as the best thing for them. And the tactics that you can use in your content to allow people to trust you is endless. There's no boundaries. So you can really do this in so many different ways. But as you understand this foundation, just know that this is simply the foundation to build upon, and you can make this as unique to you and your business as you want. So let's get into this first part of the content strategy critical aspects, which are the problems and solutions. Problems your business holds the solution for are going to become your content pillars. And I know you've probably heard content pillars before, and you've probably used them in different ways other than this way, but I'm gonna explain to you why this is so powerful. I want you to close your eyes and envision a yo-yo. I know that is so random, but I have a kind of picture to explain to you why the problem and solution pillars are your best option for a sustainable content strategy. So if you think of your finger holding the yo-yo as the buyer stage, right? We just talked about the buyer stages, and we will get into that after this. But depending on how comfortable your audience is with you and your business, we can consider that they are either a cold audience, meaning they probably have never heard of you before, they're just coming into your circle and realizing what you do. That would be a cold audience. Next step up would be a warmer audience, meaning they probably already follow you. They're feeling you out. They're understanding maybe your authority and like how much experience you have in this field. And they're definitely interested in what you have to say. So that would be warm. Hot would be the last stage, and that would be your closest audience to your offer. So that would be people on your email list, people who are actively engaged in your content and what you do. Those could also be considered hot or warm, but it's really the people who are on your email list who are ready to buy something from you. And all they really need is the inspiration and the action prompt to do so. So your finger holding the yo-yo is the buyer stage. The string is the content piece. The yo-yo itself is the offer. So anytime you're creating content, when you have these problem and solution pillars, you're basically tying a cold audience who's at the problem aware stage to a hot audience who's at the conversion stage, which we will get into after this. And what your content really does, the mechanism it holds, is the kind of comfortability. It's getting people used to you, and it's making them aware that you know what you're talking about, you can be trusted, you are an authority, and you are figuring this all out, you know what to do, and now here's the perfect offer for them. So I want to now give you some examples of a problem and solution pillar for certain types of business owners and solopreneurs. Let's first go into the problem and solution pillars of a one-to-one astrologer. So what is the solution? And this is something to note, that most businesses are gonna have one major solution, 1 to 3 at most. That's really a good place to start, is like, your solution might do many things, but what is the main thing that it does? So keeping that in mind, an astrologer's problem pillar might look something like this. They are trying to reach people who have lack of clarity, lack of belief system or sense of belonging, no direction, and no sense of self-understanding or compassion. These are all examples. Now, the solution pillar for an astrologer is gonna look simple, but may have other things related to the solution that also apply. For instance, the solution that an astrologer provides is personal clarity, philosophy, a sense of direction, and self-understanding, but it really all stems from clarity. So let's use one of these examples as a way to tie this yo-yo problem to solution to the stages. So let's tie the problem of lack of clarity to personal clarity. That is probably the most simplistic. But what you could do is tie a different problem to the same solution that you've always done or that you've always had. This is where you get variance with your content. Stick with me. The problem aware stage, being lack of clarity, would probably look something like, what does your sun sign mean for purpose? How does your moon sign explain your emotional awareness? What does your moon sign mean about your emotions? Something like that, where it's super searchable. It's something that somebody would understand just from reading it, wanting to know a quick solution to problem of lack of clarity, right? The consideration stage in this example would be something a little bit more advanced. So maybe finding the love of your life through your Venus and Mars placements? Or what does your Jupiter-Saturn dynamic say about your security? Now, the hot stage of this would be a lot about the life after the fact of clarity. It would be something like how I worked with my Jupiter placement to bring me more abundance. Something like that, where it's like somebody did something already based on the knowledge and the understanding of astrology, and now their life is different. So just to hit this home, let's talk about one more problem and solution pillar for a more practical business. Let's use a candle maker, for example. So the problem that a candle maker might have the solution for is a dull lacking of home comfort. And the solution is a good smelling home or space environment. So you can probably see at this point that the cold stage, the problem aware stage, would be something like top 10 candle smells for the fall, or how to make your home space more comfortable, right? Even though it's not really related to candles, it still is going to draw that line. The consideration stage type of content for a candle maker can be super, super creative. And I'm gonna maybe do this one a little differently just to show you how it could be a little different. You could have your content be in certain environments where it's taking photos of the candle that you make and having it be within certain environments that look very aesthetic, that really carry the solution you're talking about, which is good smelling home space, and really curating it to the visual and the feeling. This content could be super engaging, like drop in the comments what your favorite environment is of these candle environments, right? And it could be like 5 photos of candles within different environments, and it's all different candle smells, but maybe they drop a 2 because 2 had a candle that the type of candle that was on the label, the name of the candle sounded amazing and the aesthetic was so you, right? So now they're more apt to want to know what that candle smells like. Now, the conversion stage or the hot audience stage of a candle maker's content could also be very creative and have a very different approach. It could be sale type content. So it could be like 20% off on these dates to celebrate Halloween. It could show the candle in an environment with people in it enjoying their autumn coziness or whatever have you. It could be an aesthetically pleasing video of somebody lighting the candle and reading a book. And that is showing life after the solution, life after having that candle. So these are all very specific examples, but I do feel like we've covered a lot of the problem and solution pillars and how they relate to the stages. So now I want to just wrap it all up and give you kind of the overview of these stages and how they relate exactly to these problem solution pillars. The buyer journey. This is really explaining and talking about the problem aware stage to the consideration stage to the conversion stage. There are really 3 stages that we can focus on in our problem solution pillar. So as I mentioned with the astrologer, with the lack of clarity and then personal clarity being the solution, we are basically going to tie from the problem aware stage all the way to the conversion stage pieces of content that relate to each other, that even give a call to action to go see the other, read the other, view the other, whatever piece of content it is, if it's a blog post or a YouTube video. So the problem awareness stage should really be for, as I've said, a cold audience, and therefore it is likely that it is going to be an educational piece of content. It is really speaking to the people who are just now aware that they have a problem. They're not yet searching for a solution, but they might be searching for approachable answers to simple questions around their problem. So problem aware stage content is for a cold audience and they just need the education about the whole topic itself. Good examples of this as headlines would be how to start an herb garden, everything you need to know to grow your own herbs, the ultimate guide to growing herbs. Let's move on to the consideration stage. This is the middle stage, right? This is for a warm audience who knows what you do, they're aware of what you do, They're kind of in your corner, but they're not really yet in that space of being sold to. They still want to understand what you have to offer. They're probably wanting to be convinced of trust and authority of you and what you do in your business. So since this is for a warm audience, this type of content is easily authority-driven content. It speaks to the experience in what you do, achievements, and even mistakes that make someone feel like they relate to your story. And inevitably, they'll build trust in your solution. So examples of these kinds of headlines or titles of your content would be like free plants? Here's how to turn one basil plant into hundreds more. How to save and store fresh herbs from your garden for winter. 10 most common herb garden mistakes, and what not to do when starting your herb garden. And lastly, consideration stage content. So consideration stage content is going to be your warmest, hottest audience. That's why we call them hot audience. They are the closest to your offer. We want to really dig in and show them exactly what their life can be like after they've had your solution. And that is why we focus on inspirational content in this stage. So this is when they already trust your authority. It is simply a matter of expressing the transformation that they will have once they have your solution. It's the optimized or changed for the better lifestyle that exists after they buy your solution. So content headlines or content titles that align with this stage would be the easiest way to sow seeds. I grew my own herbs for 1 year. Here's what I learned. How homegrown nettles changed my stress levels and adrenal fatigue. I hope you liked those little herbalism inspired content ideas. As you guys know, I am a studying herbalist, so I love that kind of stuff, and it was super easy for me to give you those titles. If you've made it to this part of the video, I want to personally invite you to something that this all relates to. This strategy, believe it or not, is actually one piece of a 5-piece puzzle, I like to say, but it's really a 5-piece cohesion of an online business strategy, an online business offering. Now, if you are interested in streamlining content to 10 hours a month, I'm going to actually show you exactly how to integrate this content strategy into an ideal schedule for you. I know very, very deeply from the inside and from the point of view of a business owner just how difficult it is to manage content and really always have a sustainability factor with it, meaning always feel inspired by it and always feel like it is actually pushing the needle in some way. If you are curious and want to learn more, there's an explainer video attached to the Work With Me one-on-one, book a free call. You can actually book a free call with me. I'm not going to try to sell you something. You already kind of know what I do. So this is really just to gauge if we are a good fit to work together and if this is something that could really benefit you and your business where you're at right now. And I'm super, super excited about this. You were meant to be a business owner, not a creator, a constant content creator. I know how much time it takes. I want to streamline it for you to get it to be just 10 hours a month, which is 2.5 hours a week, and make this really work for you. So if you are interested or if you just have a question for me, drop them in the comments. And thank you again for being here and watching my videos. It really, really helps when you give the videos a like so that I know what kind of content to push out more. So thank you so, so much again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.